How to add an adjustment layer in Affinity Photo. Go to Layer and New Adjustment Layer and just go down here and select one of the adjustments. I want to go for HSL, for example. So HSL, and this panel will appear. This will be the same in virtually all of the various adjustments. And you can modify the hue shift. You can also modify how it blends as well. So you can run through those. You can also modify the saturation shift, etc. Once you're happy with it, you can add a preset. If you're happy with the design, you just quickly add a preset so you can come back to it later. But I'm just going to close it. And you can then see you've got this adjustment layer above this background. Now you can simply just drag it down into it so it's associated with it if you want it just associated with that layer. So you can then expand it out and you can see HSL shift adjustment. Say you decide I want only part of it. Well, you can add a selection. So let's just remove it. Just go here and you can use any selection. Rectangular marquee tool, just create a selection like that. And I'm creating the selection over the face and the book. And with that, you can go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer. And again, you can go down to H, and obviously any of the others can be used, HSL. And then you can change and tweak that. And then only that part of the layer will be modified. And close it. And you can see you've also got a mask added. That's another great feature. So let's just go to select and deselect. Don't want that selection anymore. But you can manipulate that mask. Simply select it and then go to filters, maybe go to blur and Gaussian blur. So you can just blur it and you can see you can create an interesting blurring effect with that adjustment. And again, at any point, you can double click and that will bring up the panel and you can modify that adjustment. So you can just change it, say you want green or you want to go for blue, etc. But also you can add masks in another way. So let's just go back, right back to the start without the selection. And again, you can go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and this time I go for black and white. You can obviously vary it, variety of different options. You can tweak red, yellow, etc. But now I want to add a mask. You can go to Layer, and I can add a new layer. So Layer and New Layer. I can fill that, and I'm going to fill it with black. Now there's other ways of doing this, of course, but I'm just going to go with this, filled, and now I'm just going to add a filter effect. And this filter is one of the weird ones. It doesn't seem to work in the way you think it should with masks all the time. So I'm just going to go with it here. So filters, and down you've got distorts, you've got colours, and procedural texture. Now I'm just going to go for one of the basic ones, so you don't have to learn any sort of equations and things. Just go with one of the standard ones in the basic shapes, just with the presets. Go for checkered. And you can see you've got this lovely checkered design. You can modify the count, so you don't have to go with that. Vary it in all kinds of ways, and click apply. Now at this point, it's not a mask. So how to use it as a mask? Well, you can go to Layer with it selected, make certain it's selected. Go to Layer. And then you can go down here, rasterize to mask. So rasterize to mask. And now it's been rasterized and you can see the effect. But however, that's not what I want. What I want to do is actually just drag this down, just apply the mask to that black and white. And you can see that some part of the image, so if I actually remove it, let's just say, you can see it's obviously yellow, reds, etc. If I bring it back again, you can see the red there, but you can see that because of the checkerboard, that some parts of the image have been turned into black and white. Some, obviously you can see they're white, but the rest is still colour. And the great thing about this is you can apply various effects as well. So you can select it, so just expand that out. You've got the mask there. With that mask selected, you can both apply filters and blur and say Gaussian blur. And just blur it. So you can tweak it, click apply, and this again you can still see you've got the black and white. That hasn't gone. But also you can distort it. So I'm just going to undo the Gaussian blur. Just going to go for filters, distort and deform. Now there are odd quirks with this. There's sometimes some things just don't seem to work in the way you think they should. I'm just going to drag this out, and you can see this does distort using the deform. So you can create some very interesting designs like that. Still, it's just an adjustment layer. You can see the mask there. And also what you can do is you can drag this down into that layer, and the whole thing is then only associated with that layer. So you can tweak it, you can duplicate it. So if you decide, I want to duplicate that, you can go to layer and you can duplicate. And then they're independent. So you can go down here and you can tweak things. You've got the mask, black and white adjustment. You can always double click, bring that up and tweak that. Just change the various settings. Also, you've got blend mode, so you can blend between them. So you just select the background, the layer itself, not the adjustment. Selecting that, and you can go through blend modes, different, and so on. You can create some truly weird and wonderful effects by just using, say, difference or any of the others. And again, you can still apply effects. So again, you've got that. Oops, I don't want to bring that up. I want the mask. So you've got the mask there. With that, you can go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and you can then see at this point, you think, oh, it's not blurring properly. You need to expand out. It's not always straightforward which you have to select. Make certain you select the mask. Then go to filters, blur and Gaussian blur, and then you can see you can blur that and click apply. That's why sometimes the logic of it doesn't always seem to work. Sometimes you should be able to select this, just this part, but it doesn't always seem to work in that consistent way. So expand it out and then make certain you select the mask, and then you can see the result of that. Again, you go back to this one and you can go through and you can see then try out different ones. Obviously, negation is always a weird and wonderful one. But at this point, what you can do, if you want, you can flatten the whole thing, go to layer, and you can then merge visible, so the whole thing is merged into one pixel layer. And of course, then you can start again, use adjustments to manipulate it even further, use additional procedural textures, as well as other filter effects to add all kinds of combinations to create some truly weird and wonderful imagery. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments below. A dislike or like, always appreciated. And also please subscribe. Always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, as well as Affinity Photo, Designer, and many others. Bye.